Hi, my name is Cindy Dunham. I will be using my ePortfolio today to kind of discuss the final review of W200. So first to start off, I want to be a secondary English language arts educator. I would really like to focus on secondary and ideally upperclassmen like juniors and seniors so I can get an AP focus and kind of discuss those more difficult topics. I personally think that technology is a vital tool for any educational setting. English class is a little bit different because I think a lot of times teachers aren't necessarily trying to integrate technology into an English classroom because we're really about the discussion circles and talking and communicating verbally about what we're analyzing in the text that we're looking at. However, I think that technology can be a great resource in English classes because you can use things to communicate. And I really like the idea of kind of having collaboration boards or discussion boards where students can reflect on what each other are analyzing and how they're analyzing things and discuss that and then maybe even be able to reflect those things in their papers. So my overall viewpoint for technology is that it is a vital key. I don't think it's something that you can just ignore in any classroom setting. So I most definitely try to want to balance the idea of technology and then also group discussion. So now I'd like to go to my gallery to talk about some of the best resources that I've kind of made or the things I'm most proud of. So first off, my problem-based learning lesson plan. I think PBL lesson plans are super important after learning about them because they emphasize critical thinking and analyzation, which is exactly what English is all about. For my PBL, I wanted to focus on how reading or literary devices or what we're reading and how that engages for our readers in the 21st century. I wanted to kind of assess the students by having them create a book trailer. And I will go down a little bit farther and show you guys an example that I put in that lesson plan. So this was a lesson that I originally had kind of had an idea at the beginning of the year, and I made this video for it. It is basically a book trailer that kind of represents like a movie trailer, only it's based on a short story called The Most Dangerous Game. It is something that most freshmen or sophomores will read in any high school English class. And I think that a lot of times students are kind of put off by English classes because it's all about reading text and then writing more text. So I really like this activity because it gives a more visual and creative aspect to something that I think switches it up for students. And I think that's really important when considering collaboration and when considering critical thinking, because if you're always doing the same thing, then your thought process is never really challenged. So this was a really fun video that I got to make that included images, suspense, really fun music, and I think that if I did integrate this into my classroom, which I do plan to do, students would really enjoy that. So kind of moving on to my s'more newsletter, which was the second most amazing resource that I found in W200. This resource, I can not get over. I think it's so great and so easily accessible and shareable. I think this is a great way to keep in touch with other stakeholders in education. And I most definitely plan on updating this and continuing to use it in the future. Another resource that I really loved learning about was Nearpods. I had not ever really used Nearpods. I was more of a Google Slides kind of kid. So a Nearpod was a great resource. I really enjoy the engagement that a Nearpod can give to like a more lecture-based discussion. I'm not sure why this is white right now, but if you, let me refresh it, ideally, the thing will show up and I kind of collaborative questions we have in here. There we go. So kind of I talked about this for my micro teaching, and a lot of the focus was creating a profile. There's an open-ended question, which I absolutely love about Nearpods, about what social media do you use, a poll, like how many do people use, like do we use Twitter more, do we use Instagram more, Facebook, what's going on in the 21st century. So we also kind of talked about social media, cyberbullying. Nearpod is also great because you can integrate videos just like this one and then have more open-ended questions to kind of facilitate that discussion. I also really like Nearpod because you can always integrate really fun images and stuff that challenges your students. So the Nearpod was probably my last resource. To kind of talk about my experience in W200, I really enjoyed this class and I really enjoyed the challenges that it kind of led me to. I think that the badges were a really great resource for me in kind of creating things that I know I'll use in my future classroom. I think that I most definitely will be using these things, and if nothing else, the Twitter chat was a super great resource because I can always go back to that in the future and I can always learn about even more resources. So I don't always necessarily need to take W200 for the rest of my college experience, I can go into Twitter chat, find some super great chats about my content area, so English, and then also education in general. And I think that the one that I participated in was really great, and it's something that I probably will continue to do and communicate to build my connections with other educators in the area. So yeah, I think for future integration, and a lot of that will come from the Twitter chat and learning new ideas from other teachers. I think too that I would like to kind of develop more of my skills on kind of trying to model what I think that students should do as far as digital citizenship. So those are probably my future goals and also my future ideas for integrating technology. Thank you so much, and I really appreciated being in your class this semester.